Hey everybody, welcome to the SOS Small Business Success Podcast. I see my camera's kind of being a little inactive, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that off there. But hopefully you can still see my screen, and let's get started today. Welcome. I'm your host, Bonnie Bonadeo, and we're in the new year, where I'm working with a lot of my clients on planning their 2023. And frankly, a lot of my clients are trying to plan for not just 2023, but 5 years out, or in other words, some level of succession planning. And that's a whole different animal. And part of what we need to do, and part of what today's episode is going to be about, is really defining that quality of leadership and coaching style that you are. So, and how to separate the two, how to know when to bring what forward, how to know when to delegate the other one. So, but I'm tying it into a sales conversation today, because in order for you to kind of be this ultimate leader and coach, and sometimes you're going to be one, sometimes you're going to be the other. You can't try to be both at the same time. So you have to know which hat to wear, and you also know when to delegate the coaching hat. You're not going to necessarily delegate the true leader hat, but you're going to delegate the coaching hat. So today's episode is called the Captain's Log, because we're going to discuss what this really looks like. Now, remember, these were my 5 insights from 2022. And I shared with you guys that I was going to bring into 2023 a little bit more about the label of coach. And, that in our industry, it's a little bit elusive and it's somewhat dangerous. And so I want to define that leadership piece to that coaching piece that is actually happening right now. Now, how many of you are Star Trek fans or have at least watched Star Trek in here? Yeah. Well, if you have, then what you know is that, Captain Kirk is the captain of the ship. Okay. So he is ultimately in charge, and his first followers, first person in the original episodes, not the more newer or modern ones, is Spock. And, Spock was really counted on for his logic. Okay. But Spock, being kind of an alien creature, he only had logic. So Captain Kirk, being human and understanding that humans are led by emotion first and logic second, sometimes it was hard for Captain Kirk to make the decisions that he needed to make. So he relied on Spock to be able to bring a logical explanation to some of the challenges that they were up against. And this is true. This is true for you as well. So if you're a sole leader within your organization, your business, and you don't necessarily have a full-on management team, or that first person that's really committed to the structure of and support system to your company. In other words, they're not paid as in a role as a leader. You're kind of doing it all. Then you need to look at wearing the hat of both Captain Kirk and Spock. When do you need to be logical? And when do you need to have more of an emotional approach to how things are going? And a leader takes on both of those aspects, as well as a coach. But I'm going to help you define a little bit more about the coach and the leader piece here. So here's kind of like a formal definition. Leading is about creating the vision, setting direction, being the example, whereas coaching is about mentoring, helping, and supporting others to be the best that they can be. So as a leader of your business, you really have to have the bigger picture in mind. You have to be able to set the directives. You have to give people a plan or a path as to where you're going. And then assuming that they do want to follow. But then sometimes when you have to get them on board with you, creating that buy-in, creating those pieces that require action, that's when you need to shift into being more of a coach. All right. So you could say, we're going to increase our bottom line sales by 10% this year. And so I've stated a goal, right? I've set this vision, this direction, and then I've put a timeline around it by the end of the year, right? But now what happens is that sometimes people don't have the map. They don't have the journey laid out before them to be able to get through this process to be able to make that happen. Okay, that 10% increase or $100,000 or $1 million salon, whatever it is that your goal is for this year. So then you have to be able to kind of put that coaching hat on, and you have to be able to, then coach and guide people of how they're going to achieve their portion of it in order to meet the bigger picture of all of the success of this. Now, obviously, again, if you have a leadership team, you're driving it through the leadership team, and the leadership team might be doing more of the coaching with the team itself. But if you're having to do both of it, I want you to look at and define these separate hats that you're doing. So Leonardo da Vinci says science is the captain and practice is the soldiers. All right. And there's some truth to that, because you want to be the captain of your team, but sometimes you have to be both. Sometimes you have to be the coach. Sometimes you have to be the leader. I'm suggesting you can't be both at the same time. You have to decide which one is the hat that you need to be wearing in that moment based on what you're up against or the directives that you're leading towards. So let's separate leader and coach here a little bit more in some further definition here. So what are the qualifications to be a leader? Well, sometimes nothing. Sometimes you open up a business and boom, you're the leader. Okay. You may not have any experience to be able to do it. You may not have any real know-how. You might not even have enough business savviness to be able to lead appropriately, but experience eventually allows you to become a good leader. Trial and error certainly allows you to become a good leader. Being a good, decisive decision maker allows you to be a good leader. Understanding the role of being a director, directing the process, but you're not the actor in the scene. You're just directing the scene. You're not the actor in the scene. Is very valid at times too. But you're laying out the whole plan for everything. A leader is definitely someone that has to look at the long-term goals and the bigger vision. All right. So let's look at coach qualifications. You could say that experience can help you to be able to get coaching, but the truth is that coaching is a language. Coaching is defined in a particular way that really supports opportunity and impact for other people. So it's not leading. Coaching is not leading. Okay. So you should have some qualifications to be a coach. You should get coach training. You should get coach certified. You should be working with a coach in your business if you really want to be a good coach, because they should be emulating what that style of coaching should look like for you. Okay. Coaching, and I want you to think about it too. From a coach, like from a sports analogy here, or another type of a role of a coach. So if you had a workout coach, somebody that was going to help you get in shape so that you could run a marathon, that particular coach is going to guide you to what you need to be doing. Now, they might be running alongside of you in order to kind of like help you set the pace, help you with your breathing, help you with your stamina, all of that stuff. But the truth is, if you're not running too, then you will not succeed at what the coach is trying to accomplish with you. In most cases, the coach is guiding and directing you in a sense to be in action, to be the one in action. And so, from just a workout coach, he might be standing next to the treadmill while you're running on the treadmill, but he may not be on a treadmill himself or herself. Okay. He might be supporting you while you're on the treadmill. But do you get that then the coach is not necessarily the one that has to be in action with the actual, result and outcome that you're aiming for. You're the one that has to be on the treadmill. So I want you to think about it that way. Now, a coach is in most cases, I consider it to be more of an internal support of inspiration. And I don't just mean like internal within your business. I'm also talking about internal within the individual. In other words, if you just focus on external things like do this by this time in this way, and come check back in with me type of thing. That's not a coach. That's a leader creating some directives. Okay. But a coach would be like, I want to work with you on your path. I want to be able to help you get there. So that internal support system is designed around what might be causing you to not be able to accomplish what you need. It may not be a task or a physical skill or attribute. It might be something just internal blocking you from being able to get to that next level. And a lot of times this internal support system is designed around inspiration. Coaches are also implementors. And I want you to look at that word, write it out for me. Implementor, mentor. So coaches a lot of times are mentors. In other words, they have what it takes to be able to get you to the finish line. All right. They don't make the decisions for you. They encourage you, they inspire you to make the decisions for yourself. So other people, if you're coaching somebody, I'm not making the decisions for them. I'm allowing them to make the decisions, and then they're more committed to fulfilling those decisions. Coaches also are guides and not doers. Okay, they're not doing it for you. Consulting could be doing it for you. In that quasi area of consulting versus coaching. But coaching, you're really being the guide and not the doer. They're focusing on short-term goals, results, impact, outcome is their focus. Okay, does that make sense? So there's the difference between the leader and the coach. So now I want you to think about what is it that, where are your strengths at? Okay. Are you a better leader than you are a coach? Do you need more support in the coaching arena? Are you a great coach, but you just don't want to take on the big directives as a leader? That might be intimidating for some people. But I want you to imagine now your team on the other end of this. Are they being directed versus just being coached? How confident is your team with the map that you've provided them if you're just being a leader to them? Is it where they want to go? Or is it where you're expecting them to go? The director being directed is answering the what and the when, what it is that needs to be done and by when. Coaching is understanding what needs to be done by when. So there's like an end cap, right? What needs to be done by when? And in the middle of those two end caps is, why is this important? How are we going to accomplish this? Where does this lead us to? Like, or where do we need to go in order to get this done? And who else needs to be a part of it? Who needs to take on the heavy of it? Okay, that's where a coach is working with you. Director is answering what and when. Coaching is answering why, how, where, and who. Okay, hope that helps you guys. All right, so leading your team may not be enough. Coaching your team towards results might be what you have to do. So I want you to really think about this year with everything that you want to accomplish and the goals that you might have already set aside for yourself for 2023. I want you to think, are you just leading? Are you leading and coaching? Do you need to have somebody that can help to coach your team? Do you need to get somebody within your organization that can kind of take on more of that coaching role? And so that you can continue to maintain yourself as a leader, do you need to do both? And when do you need to put on those hats? So that you're not thinking that you're trying to do both. It'll be very confusing for your team if you try to play both of those roles at the same time. Okay. It'll be very confusing for them. So you have to know when to take off the leadership hat and say, well, let me help you with this. Or let's talk through this, or let's walk through this, or let's plan it out a little bit more. That's when you're shifting into that coaching mode and everything. It doesn't disrupt the what and the when. Okay. It just gives more substance to how we're going to achieve the what by the when. Okay. All right, you guys. I just came off of doing a SOS strategy planning session workshop with people on Monday, and it went very well. And it's hard. It's hard to commit to the bigger pieces of what you want to accomplish. We get really caught up in going down the rabbit hole of wanting to understand all the hows. How am I going to get this? How do I need to do this? Or, oh, I need to check in with so-and-so to get this done. You just need to put the plan together and then know that the plan has to be prioritized at that point. And if you prioritize it in a way that is based on the timer method that I talk about a lot, which is, time, money, energy, and resources. Then it will help to prioritize what can be done, what can be delegated, and what needs to maybe be put off for next quarter or the back half of the year or even next year if you can't get what you need to be able to accomplish it, or if you're just overwhelming yourself with all of the details and not leading or heading up bigger directives in there. But join me because we're going to be doing this session again. So it's only 8 people. Okay. It's a very small, intimate group because we really have to get to some planning time. So I can't have it as a big group if we want to be able to get everybody on the same page to be able to plan this through. It's February 20th, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Registration is open right now. So if you missed this one here in January, you can join me in February, and you can go to mindsetandstrategy.com. It's only $37. That will lock you in as one of the 8 people to be able to work with me. I'm going to provide you the strategy plan, and I'm going to let you know what you're going to need up front in advance to bring to the session, and what we're going to be working on then throughout the session with it. Give me 90 minutes and I'll help you map out your 2023. Give me 90 minutes and I'll help you define when you need to be that leader versus when you need to be that coach. Your business deserves for you to take this time in there. Now, I also have an option. So some of you might be DIY sailors and you're just, you can take it on yourself and you don't need the workshop mode to it. You can download the free SOS strategy plan for 2023 if you go to SOSsalonstrategy.com. SOSsalonstrategy.com, and you can just download the entire plan. And if you decide to still join me for the workshop and there's an open space, love to have you. So I look forward to helping you. It's not too late to get 2023 in action and planned out. Because like I said on the beginning of this, most people are looking for what they want to accomplish this year, but a lot of people have a 5-year, vision in place, and they have to be able to get their business to a certain level so that they can meet that 5-year that they're trying to assume, whether it's expanding, selling, retiring, whatever it is in there. That's kind of the plan there. I want to help you get there. I want to help you make it successful along the way as well. All right. Thanks for joining me at the SOS Small Biz Success Podcast. And you guys always know, if you go to my website, any of these websites, there's always an opportunity for you to set up an exclusive call with me. So you can go to bonniebonadeo.com and it'll give you some links to be able to set up an exclusive free strategy session with me if you can't make the dates that I have set up for more of the workshops. All right. Talk to you soon.